For one team this afternoon, a championship rests on the horizon of the Hill City skyline. The Lynchburg Hornets host this ODAC semifinal contest in hopes of returning to the title game for the ninth straight season. The Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets aim to punch their ticket for the first time since 2013. Welcome to the ODAC tournament right here on LHSN. Hi, everybody. Evan Gates, Joe Brennan, Ethan Moratsky, spending this afternoon with you. And fellas, this is a matchup that Lynchburg is certainly no stranger to. They have played well throughout the regular season.
They met during the regular season, but for the first 30 minutes, that was a tight ball game. We went to the locker room, knotted at zeros, and a big reason why is because Randolph-Macon Sports, one of, if not the best keepers in not only the conference, but the entire Division III landscape.
Yeah, great defense from Randolph-Macon. Like you mentioned, Joe, it was really neck and neck the entire way. Randolph-Macon soaking up all the pressure on the defensive end. You got to think that it almost feels like whoever scores that first goal today is going to have a huge chance of winning because the defense is just so fantastic. But this is the best time of the year. It's playoff field hockey on Schellenberger Field for Lynchburg, where we expect a really fun and really tight matchup between these two teams.
We know anything can happen, and obviously Lynchburg in the driver's seat to host ODAC tournament play if they get the win today. That championship's going to be right here on the home turf. But let's take a look at some of the team stats coming into this one. And Lynchburg's offense throughout the year has been the big narrative, scoring over 5 goals per game, and it was no different last time out.
Yeah, a team that's top 2 in the country for scoring average this season. They have found goals in flurries. It has been extraordinarily explosive throughout the year, and it's really tough to find a single weak spot that this offense brings to the table.
Yeah, and something to easily to look at is the 8.33 saves a game for Randolph-Macon, and you go look at the last matchup between these two teams. Lynchburg just peppered shots at Ambrosi Torres, and we really expect the same thing. Lynchburg's offense just plays so aggressive and just so much chaos in front of the net, so we expect a really, really offensive matchup for Lynchburg.
Well, Valentina Ambrosi Torres has started every single game for Randolph-Macon this year and a critical piece of their defense. We're going to see what she can do throughout this contest. But before we do, we got to look at our players to watch. It starts with Lynchburg. This is an offense that has been explosive all year. We mentioned they had a big-time flurry last time out, 17-0 victory against EMU. Anna Dorstein, a big reason why. She's now at 50 points on the season, the reigning ODAC Player of the Week again. And, you know, you can play chess, you can play checkers. It doesn't matter what game you're playing because when Dorstein is out there, she is just on a different level, and she's showing it this season.
Yeah, she could take it herself. She could dish it off and find a teammate. Top 10 in the nation for both assists and goals per game in that goals column. I mean, you saw the explosive nature she brings to the table last game, scoring the second most goals in a single game in program history. When she's hot, and you just got to give it to 21 and get out of the way.
Yeah, plain and simple, she can do everything. She's your Swiss Army knife on the offensive end. And every time that Lynchburg's on defense, they get a takeaway. You can always count on Anna Dorson to just be running out the field, calling for the ball. She's got so much speed and so much talent on the offensive end.
And on the other side for Randolph-Macon, it's not necessarily their lead. Ali Cuiava.
Yeah, Cuiava has played big when the lights have been the brightest, and that's really what you need at this stage of the season. As you mentioned, a goal in each of her last 2 games against Roanoke and Bridgewater, and those were ultimately the difference makers for this Yellow Jacket team. And Ski said at the beginning, it's one of those games where if you can get a goal early, if you're Randolph-Macon, that completely changes the tide of this contest. You'd like to get her rolling as quick as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in playoffs time. Obviously, you look for your top scorers, but to win a playoff tournament, it really comes down to who can step up outside of your star players, and Cuiava is the perfect person for that. Again, 2 goals in the last 2 matches. I mean, this is just a fantastic.
In a really good spot heading into the ODAC tournament, hence the reason it's a big-time semifinal matchup between a pair of stingers, fight or flight in this one, the Hornets and the Yellow Jackets on the other side. Welcome back to Schellenberger Field. Evan Gates, Joe Brennan, Ethan Morotsky, three-man booth for this ODAC semifinal and a big-time matchup as Randolph-Macon has really entered uncharted territory for the last few seasons. Jessica Weiss, head coach in her 11th season, has eclipsed that 11-win mark. Now at 12 on the season, and that's the most during her tenure at Randolph-Macon, and you feel like it's a really big spot and a really fun time to be a Randolph-Macon fan. But let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineups for the Yellow Jackets. And they go out into this one with, obviously, a squad that has done it by committee all year long on the attacking side.
Yeah, it's going to be just a fantastic game. You look at this lineup and highlighted Ambrosie Torres. We really can't talk enough about her, followed up by a bunch of great players, a great offense, a defense that we expect, again, is going to soak up a ton of pressure.
And for Lynchburg, a team with a lot of familiar faces, and the starting lineup hasn't changed much throughout the year. Shai Schoons in goal. The attack has been prolific, and we mentioned Anna Dorstein services early in the year, but the defense as well. It feels like if you get down in a game against Lynchburg, it's tough to come back.
Yeah, that back line of Lamb, Stifler, and Muir has been excellent this season, but also don't sleep on the midfielders. Connie Mazizi and Allie Freeman, two of the top defenders at their position in the entire conference. They love those takeaways at the middle of the field and can often turn good defense into great offense.
Well, Kanye Mizizi is a member of the Zimbabwe national team. Just a reminder, if you haven't watched this Lynchburg team throughout the season, they have players who have been on every single level, but especially this ODAC tournament. So back. And Jenny Relaford for Lynchburg in her second season as the head coach, trying to get her first ODAC title.
Yeah, it should be a really great matchup. Again, we've highlighted a lot the last game between these two teams, and it was really neck and neck for the first two-thirds of the game. And Lynchburg, they got that first goal and just continued to keep playing aggressive field hockey.
Well, for Randolph-Macon, you feel like at some point you've just got to get over the hump that is the University of Lynchburg. The Hornets sporting an 11-game winning streak over Randolph-Macon, and our last victory going all the way back to 2015. And right now, this just seems like a Lynchburg team that is a freight train barreling down the tracks. They're going to be hard to slow down.
And this is a Lynchburg team that hasn't gone, or let's put it this way, hasn't failed to reach the ODAC championship since 2016. They've done it 8 straight years. And so to get to this part of the season, they're not exactly scared by teams that are surging, even like Randolph-Macon, who sports a 3-game win streak.
Yeah, and if you are Randolph-Macon, obviously the success is somewhat new to your squad, but when you're in a game like this against the top 25 opponent, the number 1 seed, you're playing away at a really tough location at the University of Lynchburg. You really just got to keep your hot streak going. You know you have a great defense. Learn from your mistakes that you made in the first game against the Hornets and try and capitalize on the opportunities you're going to get.
Well, the problem is Lynchburg has already acquired its first penalty corner of the game. They average north of 11 per match, and that's a statistic you have to slow down if you're any opponent.
And as the season has moved along, the Hornets have become so efficient in this aspect of the game. That's one thing you can tell they've worked on a whole lot throughout the year.
Chance from the side, inserted in. Here's the shot. A lot of velocity, but it's heading the other way. Yellow Jackets take over, and you feel like if you're Randolph-Macon, the longer you stay in this fight, the more confidence you're going to get, and you got to make sure Lynchburg doesn't score early.
Absolutely. It's also just about trying to get over those top teams if you're Randolph-Macon. So far this season, they have beaten everybody they went into as a favorite in conference play. 5-3, the only 3 losses to the 3 teams ahead of them in the standings to end the regular season.
Yeah, again, going back to our earlier comments, we really feel like it's going to be whoever gets that first goal is going to have a large chance of winning. But you look at both these teams, and they're going to look at that first goal if they get it just completely different. Where Lynchburg, if they get that first goal, Randolph-Macon's got to come forward. This could be their last game of the season, so it's going to open up a lot. But if Macon gets that first goal, they're going to just want to soak up even more pressure, park the bus, and take those counterattacking opportunities when they're given.
I think especially so because when they did play Washington and Lee, Lynchburg, and Shenandoah this regular season, they were shut out in all 3 of those games.
And they all happen within a 4-game span. So you're thinking about playing the top teams. Well, confidence does come into factor, and you feel like you want to play them when you're playing well. Also don't want to do it consecutively, as Lynchburg has another penalty corner.
The defense has just been the heartbeat of the Yellow Jackets this season. You've seen that at the end of the season with 3 consecutive shutout victories.
Chance to be right there again as these two teams feel themselves out early. This ball will go over the line, and looks like Lynchburg maintains possession.
We're going to see a lot of that from the penalty corners where you got one side of the corner at the top of the castle staying true to the ball, and everybody else really just crashes that net, tries to cause a ton of pandemonium and chaos in front of the goal.
Lynchburg now going to this near side, still weaving through traffic, but once again the Yellow Jackets defense a little more stout this time. Brenna McLean right there, the junior from Rock Hall, Maryland. Her sister actually plays on the team as well, Ellie, and you're going to see both of them in play today. Pass disrupted going to the middle of the field, but Lynchburg will take over again.
Obviously, Lynchburg got the bye out of the quarterfinal round for Randolph-Macon. That was a fun one against Bridgewater. Kind of as you've been harping on, Ski, they scored early in the opening frame against that one. It was a defensive battle the rest of the way, and they held Bridgewater just 4 total shots that game.
Say that'll work in ODAC tournament play. This ball goes to the top. Mazizi dishes off, and Dorstein's first shot of the game sticks right on the doorstep. Once again, Ambrogi Torres had to go down to the ground. That's that pressure you really like if you're Lynchburg, because so many different attackers have the ability to strike.
Well, I tell you what, we almost caught a little bit of deja vu with Sar Prinz this last matchup between the Yellow Jackets and the Hornets. She did catch a goal, and we almost saw it in very similar fashion where she really likes to pivot in front of goal, just do a complete 180 and catch the goalie off guard.
It really does feel like what makes this Lynchburg offense so dangerous is they've got 4 goal scorers with double-digit tallies this season. I mean, 4 of the top 5 leaders in the ODAC for goals this season are a member of this Lynchburg Hornets team. That's not something you see every day.
And it starts with practice as well, because if you're a coach, you got to make sure everyone recognizes they have the ability to shoot. When you have a lot of players on a roster, sometimes it's easy to be unselfish and dish off to your teammate. Hasn't exactly been the case, and Dorstein proves it with 5 tallies in that last game.
One thing I will say is, we talk so much about the offense and the numbers that they've put up this year, but you do have to keep in account there are a couple of inflated games. I mean, you've had a 17-goal game, you've had a 13-goal game, and naturally that's going to bring those averages up.
Got to watch out now. Isolation for Dorstein, heading all the way home, ready to fire, and the trail take it away. Once again, though, the Hornets had that option to sprint ahead.
But in that same breath, it's been Lynchburg's offense in those critical games when you look at Washington and Lee and going back all the way to your Sinus in September or the Bates game as well. When you face those quality defenses, what can you do then from an offensive standpoint? Not just what are you doing on an average.
And obviously that Ursinus game was pretty much even, except the fact Lynchburg dominated the shots category 21-6. This ball goes middle, ready to fire, and just left of the cage.
That was a great rebound by Danny Kuhn. That's something that this Lynchburg team has really improved upon as the year's gone along, is just capitalizing on those second chance opportunities. Obviously not on target that time around, but it's just something to be mindful of.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've seen so much with Coach Jenny Relaford at the helm now. It's really putting her players on those penalty corners in the best position to where they can possibly find a second chance opportunity goal. And that's what we've seen with Sar Prinz so much this season. That's a huge reason why her goal count has jumped in her career.
Hornets now working around the midfield. Opportunity for Schuchter to go near side. And Randolph-Macon has at least done well defensively to shift positions around the field. You know, Lynchburg's always trying to get to those pockets of space. Chance momentarily for Haley Schwartzball, but now has to give it away, and Lynchburg back in business. Lamb goes near side. Now chance for Allie Freeman. Dishes off to the far side, and once again, some of those passes, the Yellow Jackets have just been a little bit quicker too.
And that was an excellent poke right there from the midfielder Moody, but Lynchburg just staying with it. Unrelentless pressure thus far. They're
And
just keeping it on this half of the field.
And that's what we mentioned earlier, when you mentioned Kanya Mazizi and Allie Freeman, where that midfield, and it's not even just those two, it's really everybody. If Randolph-Macon has that ball in the midfield area, Lynchburg is going to be jumping right on you. They're going to be trying to do anything they can to get that take. Steins.
Penalty corner tally continuing to accelerate. Lynchburg a little more methodical this time to the top. Mazizi ready to shovel and take it away by Ambrogi Torres. Second chance, and the referee intervenes. Yellow Jackets successful again to evade trouble.
You got to think for Randolph-Macon, it's going to come down to trying to find the nooks and crannies through the midfield, and it's going to be really tough, but they're going to be there.
So far, Lynchburg has played almost the entire match on the right side of the field. Let's see if Randolph-Macon can get into their attacking side. Hornets fans have been treated to a lot of stellar play throughout conference play. Washington and Lee, the lone loss, and the top three teams all knotted up heading into this ODAC tournament. Of course, Lynchburg had the opportunity to host, and you feel like it was critical that Lynchburg was the 1 seed, because you look at the other ODAC semifinal today, Shenandoah versus Washington and Lee, two other powerhouses.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun battle between those two tonight. And also, just to add to that element, not only does the first seed give you a bye and gives you an extra little bit of breathing room away from those two other powerhouse programs, but you get to stay on your home turf for the entirety of the postseason. And this is a Lynchburg squad that under Jenny Relaford has been excellent at home, 18-1 during the last 2 seasons.
When you look at it from a Randolph-Macon standpoint, yes, they didn't get that bye week, but you look at the positives of it where they played. They played a couple days ago, so their players are warm and ready to go, where Lynchburg, I mean, they're looking great today so far to start this game, but try and find those weaknesses that Randolph-Macon can counter on.
Lynchburg over the years has extended that postseason advantage not just to the ODAC tournament, but even the NCAA, as Dorstein weaves through. Pass taken away this time, sticking with it, and relentlessly, yes, she feeds it to the middle. Mazizi now around, ready to shoot. Takes a disruption, and Ambrogi Torres has to stay right there. And once again, the shot just right of the
Been a good defensive game plan really built around her.
As a goalkeeper, you know the pressure is going to be there every single game as well, and she has handled it so well to just be a staple. And obviously, as we said earlier, starting every single match this year for the Yellow Jackets. I mean, that's not only consistency, but that's making sure you're healthy, you're ready to play, and your coaching staff trusts you. Unfortunately for the moment, Lynchburg has another penalty corner, and Yellow Jacket fans have obviously been in moments of pressure throughout the season. Mentioned in those 3 top matchups of the ODAC, Shenandoah, Lynchburg, and WNL, failed to score a goal. Early one would come a long way, as here's the fire, and the referee will intervene. That was a shot from Den Beeman, freshman from the Netherlands. 4 goals, 2 assists, and once again, not afraid to strike from distance.
And to be able to contribute to a great Lynchburg team as a freshman, I mean, 4 goals, I mean, that's fantastic. And it gives you a lot of hype for your future to have somebody who's already playing on your first team. And it gives you a lot of really excitement that she can be a great contributor to the success of this program.
Zizi had a comfortable pass, almost in a very awkward fashion, but no shot from Dorstein. Randolph-Macon now going near side, the pass up the field, but it's going to run out of room.
We're already getting to see a lot of this depth that the Lynchburg attack line brings to the table. Getting more of those fresh legs in there. Christian Berry checking into the contest. She's someone that's got a whole lot of wheels for this group. We already got a quick look at captain, Beamon, who's someone that really kind of models her game a little bit after Dorenstein. Those two have a very similar play style.
When there's a lot of power in those shots as well, it's easy because you can strike from anywhere on the field, and you don't necessarily have to get that perfect window.
I know we're going to talk about power. I mean, we've already seen Aurora Balsamo rip one off. She's really that go-to girl in those penalty corner situations. Kanya Mazizi has a nice takeaway.
There's a takeaway from the Yellow Jackets on the other side, Kylie Gorham, but couldn't hold it for long. Lynchburg continues its advance. Mazizi trying to go through 3 defenders unsuccessfully this time. Randolph-Macon would love to play this game more in the midfield because that means they're probably going to get more chances on their attacking side, but so far Lynchburg has just taken possession right back.
I mean, at this rate, it seems like Scoons might be getting her backpack out and doing some schoolwork, trying to get ahead. I mean, we haven't seen a ball get remotely close to the circle yet. This is a Lynchburg team that's really just continuing to apply a whole lot of pressure, just doing a great job of keeping it on their half of the field.
3:30 start time on a Thursday. Lynchburg has clearly passed the exam so far, but no score on the board, and we'll see if the Hornets change it here in this first quarter. Randolph-Macon had its lone tally of the last game in the first quarter against Bridgewater. Callie Cuiava, 14th minute goal, and the Yellow Jackets outshot Bridgewater 9-4. Here's Mazizi, little extra space. Now searching for options, and the shot, almost top shelf material, and somebody got a stick on it.
You know, Mazizi, the two-time All-American for Lynchburg, her numbers don't necessarily jump out at you on a page. 2 goals this season, 3 dimes, but it's the stick work that she has, along with the defense, to create those open windows and really spark that offense more times than not. You know, we just saw her try and weave her way through 3 defenders.
Allie Freeman's shot just misses to the left, took a late deflection.
And more times than not, you're going to have a coach say, no, pass it, find an open teammate. But she's the one that always has the green light, just with her ability to navigate through traffic.
And to add to your point, Joe, about Kanye Mazizi, is that the part of her game that I love is that it just almost seems like she's always expecting or trying to see if they're like, she's got that internal clock in her head where if she gets the ball or if she's off the ball, she's thinking, what happens when I get the ball, or who can I pass to, who's going to be in what position. And she's got so much going through her head, and the fact that she can contain all of it and still be as good as she is just, it's amazing.
Tell you what, it's that unorthodox style that has warranted this much play at the top level, because Mazizi, when you see some of the shots and the passes, they come out of nowhere. Even when her back is to the goal, she finds a way. Pass to the middle of the field. Randolph-Macon doing anything they can just to hold on for the moment. Rolling, dishes back. Now trying to work around the horn, and the pass from Caitlin Porter will roll over the line. Lynchburg possession. Two minutes to go here in this first quarter. Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon, an ODAC semifinal matchup. Lynchburg looking to advance to the title game for the 9th straight year. Pass to the middle of the field. This might be the first big chance for Randolph-Macon, as Porter was in the area code. But once again, the Hornets defense just a step ahead. Olivia Muir will reposition and work the pass to the middle of the field, and now they're off and running. Dorstein trying to find options, going right down Main Street. So far, so good. Ready for the shot. Takes a big bounce off the goalkeeper.
She's on pace for an excellent day. I mean, in her last 2 games against Lynchburg, she's recorded 19 saves. And in the big games this year is when she's played her best as well. You look at the 6 games that they've lost this year, in 5 of those, she's had 13 or more saves.
That's just incredible. It was a career high last year with 19. She's had 20 in a game this year against Mary Washington, but to do it twice against the Hornets when you know the attack is going to be very proficient, she just looks so poised.
Yet another penalty corner now upcoming for Lynchburg. They've really dominated that offensive stat today. 8 thus far. Also with 10 shots, 7 of which have been on cage.
A chance for another penalty corner, and Lynchburg, you feel like if they keep knocking at the door, might have goal number 1 sooner rather than later. Dorstein dishes far side, Balsamo ready with the shot, and another deflection. Dorstein again creating space, and that will result in another corner. Back to the cage go the Yellow Jackets.
How about 8 saves in the first quarter?
On pace for 32. We said 19, and that almost seems like a small number when you see what she's done so far.
You got to imagine this Lynchburg offense. It's a wonder how they don't get frustrated with how good she is in between the pipes and how well she's done the last couple games, including today.
Another entry back to the middle. Mazizi can't handle cleanly. Goes all the way to the other side, and Brogy Torres was right there. 25 seconds to go in the first quarter.
We talk about her having 8 saves in the first quarter. Scoons' season high is 9. And that just kind of gives you a gauge of how incredible this is in such a big contest.
Well, the Hornets haven't dominated possession at this margin in a lot of those tight games throughout the year, so it just proves that Randolph-Macon is ready to go when it matters as ticks roll off for the first quarter. But so far, it has been a stellar day from the Randolph-Macon defense. And Ambrogi Torres in goal, the main character. Lynchburg has been stopped in every facet so far as the Hornets continue to search for that first tally here on Schellenberger Field. It's the ODAC Semifinals in the ODAC tournament. Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon squared away 0-0. We're heading to the second on the other side. Still even so far, Lynchburg and Randolph making no score, but it has been an attacking battle for the Hornets. Ambrogi Torres in goal, 8 saves on 11 shots from the Hornets, and that is definitely going to have to be a trait for this Randolph-Macon squad if they want to get the win, because they have struggled to possess on the attacking side. Evan Gates, Joe Brennan, and Ethan Maratsky rocking with you on LHSN, and a date with the ODAC Championship on the line.
You know, oftentimes we come into a game and we feel like we have a general sense of the game pace and the flow and the script, if you will. And more times than not, we're often wrong. But I feel like tonight, or today rather, it's been pretty nail on the head. I mean, this has been a Lynchburg team that's done a great job of applying offensive pressure Meanwhile, you have a Randolph-Macon team that has done everything it can ask for defensively, especially when they've gotten inside the circle. Lynchburg's gotten off 11 shots, but they've all been contested. You've got to stick right in front of you. Nothing's really been easy. Now we're just waiting for the Yellow Jackets to try and turn the tide, still trying to see that first ball enter the circle.
Yeah, you got to imagine that with how that first quarter ran, and it was all Lynchburg, that a counterattack from Randolph-Macon could catch the defense off guard because they haven't really had to do much in this contest.
And here's the interesting point. When you possess at the rate that Lynchburg has, you don't have the luxury of a counterattack. You're not going to get the defense out of position, so as long as they have stayed in the circle, it feels like Lynchburg hasn't found the answer yet.
I think the biggest thing for Randolph-Macon is going to be trying to avoid those unforced errors. That's something we just saw as they get deeper into Lynchburg territory than we've seen all day long, and it's just a miscommunication between two athletes not on the same page. We've also seen that in a lot of their clears, trying to get across midfield.
You almost got to imagine that this Randolph-Macon team, they're treating this a lot like a Rocky Balboa boxing fight, like try and wear out the offense and the defense, try and get them to become tired, because that counterattack, you can just send your players running. I mean, they're almost fresh.
You know, I'm impressed that you went with Rocky. I would have gone Ali with a little bit of rope-a-dope.
Oh, that's right. Tell you what. Some of those Rocky movies, I mean, you think about the best sporting achievements, you see just the monsters that he had to fight. I mean, that is something I don't want to see in any sport. Always a tough one. It's Randolph-Macon doing what they can to try and just get a shot up. Didn't have one in that first quarter.
That's the one with Mr. T.
That's the third one.
Yep. You know, I've got this film class we're doing, and I'm going to have that as a final project, Rocky IV. You got Ivan Drago, all the cultural themes behind it.
I think that's the best one in my opinion.
That's one of the best.
It's America's movie in my opinion. I think so.
Not any of the Fast and Furious?
No, I mean, you got to think with the Cold War that was looming around, you got America versus the Soviet Union, Rocky versus Russia. It really felt like, and in the end, he brought everybody together.
If it's Fast and Furious, you got a lot of options.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
What is it, like 11 or 12 options?
Something like that. There's still more coming.
Could field a field hockey roster with that one. It's Randolph-Macon creeping into their attacking zone, but Lynchburg once again gets possession. You just wonder if they can get those one or two shots. You sometimes got to believe the coaching staff has thought this blueprint through. They're not necessarily surprised by the possession stats so far.
You know, if this Lynchburg team could be described as a movie or a series, Fast and Furious does seem pretty accurate.
Sure does.
That's how this offense operates. You want to pick one to go to, you got plenty of options on the offensive end. And above all else, they're family.
You convinced me. I completely agree with you, Joe.
You get to this part of the season, you really hope that the locker room is not an issue, because you've seen a lot of teams, especially more at the professional level, where it feels like those behaviors and those big-time personalities come into effect. But it has been a committee effort, as Mazizi was ready on the doorstep, somehow got that opening. Shot goes off to the side. Worth the 10 minutes to play in the second quarter. Lynchburg has a trio of subs on the sideline. Hornets working in the middle of the field. Balsamo looking to get the tap and running, but no chance to do so this time. You just see the defense as it continues to shift with every movement, but the Hornets have been a little bit better getting back those penalty corners.
You do feel at some point that these penalty corners are going to be a game breaker. I mean, you give this Lynchburg squad one too many tries in that category, and that efficiency will start to rear its head. But once again, easier said than done when you're going against one of the top keepers in the country.
Lynchburg averaging over 11 penalty corners per game. They're at 10 now in this contest. Pass goes outside. Mazizi looking to spearhead the attack. Second tap right there. Ambrogi Torres defending closely. And able to knock it out on the far side. Brilliance once again between the cage, and you recognize that Lynchburg, as they get those second and third options, is just getting even more creative, trying to find the back of the cage. Far side, Balsamo give way to her teammate, and right in front of the Lynchburg lacrosse team. A lot of fans in attendance here for this Thursday afternoon contest. Here's the shot from Schuchter, and shoot away.
I mean, she's already at double-digit saves. This is unbelievable. She's not letting anything get past her.
Look at some of those kicks and just the motions. It all looks so fluid, never out of position.
I think the big thing right now, if you're Lynchburg, is you don't want to keep playing overly aggressive on the defensive side, because that seems to be the one thing that's really helping Macon move downfield. Is these whistles just allowing them to regather, set up their offense, and try and change field position.
It's been bread and butter so far for Lynchburg when they can set things up. You've seen the penalty corners, and obviously the coaching staff probably hoping for a little more efficiency in getting that first goal, but you've seen options that have really gotten the Yellow Jackets on their toes. Now trying to work down middle of the field. Hornets defense now a little out of position. Is this the first shot moment? And the pass disrupted. Watkins got there, and now Lynchburg heading the other way.
That's what makes this Lynchburg team just so difficult to beat, is you finally get a transition break with even numbers. You're running 2-on-2, and it's an excellent poke check that jars it free and just halts the transition opportunity for Randolph-Macon.
Well, it really comes down to how much pace they have in the midfield. We really talk about how well they do on the attacking end of the field, but it seems like every time that they lose the ball in the midfield and Randolph-Macon starts going to run, it's every single player is tracking back, and a great job from Avery Watkins.
And Beamon ready to pass. Goes back to the middle. Second chance, and right at the goal. Freeman couldn't direct it on target. Don't think this Lynchburg team is going to feel pressed if they don't get the goal early either. They've played 6 ranked matchups this season, and that's just a testament to the planning from Coach Jenny Relaford. She understood that this team would be in national considerations. Freeman weaving in and out, back to Den Beamon near side, and kicked it. Randolph-Macon takes over.
And we mention it every time you play an out-of-conference matchup, how important they are throughout the entire season. Like you mentioned, Evan, 6 ranked opponents throughout the entire regular season. It's not just about getting players in, but it's all about really that playoff-style format, or that playoff feel kind of vibey game. And it really all comes down to this and how well they're doing.
Schuchter was ready for the shot in the middle of the circle, didn't get a chance to fire. Ball rolls out on the near side, and you're starting to see the Hornets stack those opportunities. Still no goal. Azizi shifty in the midfield, but has it taken away.
This will be a good chance for Randolph-Macon.
Well, the main identity for Lynchburg this season, and again, not to discredit this defense or Shy Schoons, because they have also been very impressive, but it's the offense. Lynchburg ranked 2nd in the nation for goals per game in the NCAA's last review, 5.17 average, and it is just continuing to accelerate. Not this game. Schoons has to be careful. Perhaps one of the first big chances, in Randolph-Macon hoping to get the call, and they will.
That's big time. I mean, just getting it into the circle is huge. You got to make sure that Schoons is staying sharp. It can oftentimes be so tough when you haven't seen any action for the first 25 minutes to stay sharp, but she was ready for it.
Had to get out of the cage, ready to go. Second chance, same. And Yellow Jackets just quickly trying to use this little surge, because you never know how long you can prolong the attack against a team that has been so good in clearing early in this game.
It's so tough if you are any offensive player in the Yellow Jackets because you've got 2 or 3 players crashing towards you every time you have the ball, and it can cause a little bit of panic. But that's where you have to be better if you're the Yellow Jackets, where you have to stay cool, calm, and collective on the offensive end.
Danny Kuhn starts the counter. Allie Freeman sends it up the field now. Randolph-Macon right back in business for the moment.
Good to see Kuhn back in this one. She had to exit the last contest for Lynchburg a little early on senior day. Took a stick to the jaw.
Oh,
Had a busted lip.
those are not the fun games,
No.
but you do remember them.
It is a contact sport, ladies and gentlemen.
Senior day was very fruitful for this Lynchburg team. They scored 17 times, but every field player got a goal. Got to be careful now. Schoon's right there, and it was the wrong side of the cage. That was a brilliant shot. You see the attack once again starts and ends very quickly for Randolph-Macon, and Thatch had an opportunity.
Beautiful play style from the Yellow Jackets. We haven't seen it much in this contest, but we expect as the pressure is on Lynchburg, Randolph-Macon, they're going to keep going at it, and they're going to keep putting shots on Shy Schoons when they can.
I think that was closer than the naked eye will tell you, because Schoon's obviously out of position. It almost looked like it touched the white piping of the cage, just ricocheted off in the wrong direction. That'll accelerate the heart rate a little bit, but Lynchburg back in business the other way. Danny Kuhn was right in the mix. The ball exits out the far side.
Right now, if you're Randolph-Macon, it's tough to say you're happy, but you're certainly content with where the game is at right now. It's had a similar feel to it as the regular season meeting.
Azizi trying to go up in the air again. No can do, but that's a great point, because you don't want to give up a goal in the final 3 minutes of the second quarter after you've played 27 pretty flawless minutes when you look at the defense. Maybe a moment for Lynchburg to add some pressure. The waning minutes of this first half. Winner on to the ODAC Championship. This Lynchburg team knows a thing or two about its final destination at the conference level. They've had some epic battles in the last few years. Washington and Lee, Shenandoah, 2 teams right up there in the mix. But obviously, this Randolph-Macon team wants to wrinkle what has been a very big tradition, as the Yellow Jackets starting to get back to that conference level at the top. Azizi ready to fire. Went with the backhand, couldn't finish. This year's Yellow Jacket squad joined the 2023 team as the only Randolph-Macon team to record 7 home wins since 2010. So you think about just the level of play they've had in comfort. The problem is the ODAC tournament is on the road. Got the extra victory last time out in that ODAC quarterfinal, a chance to host that game and just have the feel around campus that this team is back in a resurgence. Coach Jessica Weiss has done such a stellar job of shepherding this team back, especially from a confidence standpoint. Going neck and neck with this Lynchburg team so far, and a minute left here in this first half. Maybe one more attack in the books. Near side, and the entry will exit over the line as Watkins watches it over. Hornets have a chance now, 40 ticks to go.
Here come the Hornets.
Hornets ready to go, and to the doorstep, Ambrogi Torres had to go down to the turf. And Lynchburg, as we anticipated, they wait till the final seconds of this first half. Once again, we've talked about possession. We've talked about how well they have dominated the passing, but Kristen Berry out on the break and wastes no time to get that first tick.
A beautiful job from the freshman. We talked about how there's so much depth on this Lynchburg squad, and she's the perfect example, coming out of nowhere, just from all the way from midfield, beating one of the top goalkeepers in the nation. A beautiful job from Lynchburg to get out on top at the end of the first half.
Hannah Christenberry, we mentioned the name earlier, freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia, goal number 5 of the season. And you think about the memorable ones. They come in the postseason, the big moments of the year. Lynchburg up 1-0.
She is someone that has come along so well towards the back half of this season. That's her second goal in the last 3.
30 minutes in the books. Randolph-Macon was tied up the entire way until 20 seconds to go. Hannah Christenberry able to weave through and put the first goal up on the board. A slow roller just notches in on the corner, and the Hornets have an advantage. 10 minutes until we get things started in the second half, but it's Lynchburg 1, Randolph-Macon nothing.
Every great idea begins with a sketch, a doodle on a napkin, a quiet spark of change before the world even knows it's listening. Sometimes with faith, sometimes with fire, sometimes with nothing but each other and a box of cheap pizza, but always, always chasing something greater. Some of us climbed out of concrete, others were replanted in better soil, but a seed isn't a legacy until it bears fruit. And this is an orchard built from service, sweat, and self-discovery. You see, back in 1903, a group of first-generation minds gathered not just to learn, but to rewrite the script entirely. They didn't just attend college, they built one. From the red clay of Virginia, they laid bricks of boldness and mortar made from mission. Here in Lynchburg, the caged birds don't just sing, they soar. Because at Lynchburg, they were finally seen. You walk the same path that Nobel Peace Prize winners, marathon trailblazers, delegates, senators, artists, those who turn glass ceilings into floors and dared to dance on top of them. These halls don't whisper history. They howl it. A trademark of this place is self-expression. Not forced, not filtered, not a facade. We don't shape students into copies. We help you find your own voice, unapologetically, authentically. Because to be a Hornet is to think differently, is to think independently, to challenge curiosity, to question with care today. Right now, the Hive is alive. Classrooms buzz with conversation, the Dell hums with energy. Ideas collide in labs and lounges, and friendships are forged on fields of green that stretch canvas. This ain't just a campus, it's a collective, a rhythm, a community of thinkers, dreamers, doers. Each of us unique, but all of us moving in sync. One hive, one heart, one home. See, in this hive, everybody has a place. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody is a part of the swarm. We are engineers of empathy, architects of tomorrow, and storytellers of today. We're not waiting to change the world. We already doing it. Ask any Hornet, past or present. They'll tell you the truth. This place, undeniably home. Because it's undeniably you.
It wasn't until the final minute of the first half where we saw an advantage on the scoreboard. Lynchburg takes over 1-0. They lead after a dominant display on the attacking side, racking up the opportunities. 10 penalty corners, but it was Hannah Christenberry in the final minute of the half who just barely notches one in the corner. You see it right there. Everyone on the defense trying to prevent that inch of space, but not enough. Hornets in front. Let's take a look at some of the halftime stats as we go into the final 30 minutes, and you see it on your screen. 17 shots for the Hornets, dominating just about every category, but Randolph-Macon's still right there in the fight.
Absolutely, you're still in this one, but you have to play with such high level of intensity here in these final 30 minutes. You're fighting for your season at this point, and you just have to imagine that if you can't flip the field at some point in this game, fatigue is going to start setting in. So you can bet your bottom dollar that this defense went in the locker room, had their Gatorade, had their vitamin water, got those electrolytes ready to rock and roll for half number 2.
Well, we mentioned that the first goal was so important for either one of these teams, and Lynchburg, I would assume that they're going to be even more aggressive than they were in that first half. It's going to open up the field. Randolph-Macon, you have to be able to score, and that's going to cause so much of the space in the midfield and even in the defense to open up. There are going to be a lot of opportunities for Lynchburg.
Well, right away, Lynchburg clearly not wasting any time and keeping that blueprint. It has been attacking play throughout the entire first half, but as we said, they've played in a lot of close games throughout the season, and you feel like it's just one of those moments where when they get that first goal, they are almost unstoppable. 11-1 is the record when the Hornets score first.
Well, you really want to give a big shout-out to Ambrosie Torres. Yes, she's led in a goal, but really for this team, she's kind of that delicacy that you have on your entree. She's like marinara sauce on meatballs, where she's just so great, little something extra special on this team.
You are going to have to stop the food and drink references. You're going to get me hungry before we even enter the fourth quarter. I love it as the Hornets are trying to add one more to the tally. Here's Freeman, works to the other side, still converging as Prinz went down. And it looks like the Hornets are right back in business. A familiar scene, penalty corner, their 11th of the day.
I'm sorry to go back to it, but the marinara meatball caught me off guard. I would have thought spaghetti and meatball, peanut butter jelly.
That's right.
Well, see, I'm a fan. Obviously, I love spaghetti and meatballs, but I think the marinara sauce is just what does it for me.
Could be a deal breaker, right? It's the stuff you don't think about.
To me, I just don't think it is spaghetti without the marinara sauce.
Now, is it pasta without the meatballs, though?
Oh, that's a good question.
We'll leave it up to the food experts. Freeman out top, ready for a shot. This time Muir takes it. And the referee signaled something. Everybody's stuck in motion. Hornets will actually have a second chance on a penalty corner. So many calls in field hockey, and even some of the players will admit it throughout the season. There's a call or two where they're saying they didn't necessarily know what was called or what that signal was, because the book is a big one. Entry from the side. Freeman dishes it up top, rolls all the way out to Mallory Lamb. Second pass goes by Dorstein. From the shadows, here it is. Ambrosie Torres out of position, but didn't let the ball go behind her.
I don't think that's how they drew it up. That one gets away from Lynchburg, goes all the way back to Lamb, but somehow, some way, they're able to turn something into nothing and hold on to possession.
Schuchter out to the wider margins of the field, and we've said so many names on the attacking side. That point is proven, as we talked about early. It's about the committee effort, and Lynchburg definitely has its heavy hitters. Look no further than Anna Dorstein, who just got to 50 points on the season, but she has been a different animal this year, as has the entire offense. Randolph-Macon looking to get off to the races. Similar spot to where Christenberry had the goal in the first half. It was a counter opportunity.
I mean, the defense from Lynchburg's midfield has really been such an X factor today. ZZ, Freeman, two of those girls that are just not let anything get past them.
Down the near side, perhaps this is the chance. Lynchburg looking to get back. The pass right on the line. And the Hornets have been very good in disrupting that rhythm throughout the game. I feel like if you're Randolph-Macon, you've had a few surges, but they're stopped early, whether it's referee intervention or just an unforced error.
And I really think that goes down to how aggressive this Lynchburg team is on the ball and off the ball, where they're going to put pressure on you no matter where you are on the field, where it's all about seeing red in your eyes. I mean, everybody wants the ball, whether you're on attack, midfield, or defense.
Allie Freeman trying to move forward. Hornets now looking for option number 2, pass to the middle. Danny Kuhn had a moment. Here's Schuchter taken away. As much as we have talked about the goalkeeper for Randolph-Macon, Valentina Ambrogi-Torres, got to talk about her sister as well, who is now an assistant coach for the Yellow Jackets, Teresita. 4th season, and she had some accolades herself as a Randolph-Macon field hockey player, one of the most successful ones in program history. Started all 81 games at Randolph-Macon, 109 career points, which is, by the way, 6th in program history. Valentina going to have a big second half performance as Schuchter moves forward. Ball still ricocheting. Free shot for the Hornets and a kick that takes it away from Dorstein.
It was a really good 2-on-1 run with Maddie Schuchter and Danny Kuhn, but a great job. Another save from Ambrogi-Torres. A great job sweeping out and just closing all the angles down.
Well, Dorstein had one up top that was probably as good of an angle as you're going to get, and you just recognize those are the moments that can go either way in a contest. As we said, regular season play for Randolph-Macon was very successful, but you think about those top opponents in the ODAC. They played all 3 of the top teams, Lynchburg, W&L, and Shenandoah, within a span of 4 games. Ready for the second test. Danny Kuhn, better work, gets the second tap, and another stop. Randolph-Macon can't clear successfully. Ran right into trouble. Yellow card this time. Have to wait for confirmation as a pair from Lynchburg hit the sideline. Looks like Allie Freeman is called for this one. Freeman, a 2024 first-team All-ODAC selection. Coming into this year, this coaching staff so adamant that Freeman would be one of those leaders on this team, somebody who could be a veteran and anchor a lot of the newcomers that have been very successful this year.
Allie Freeman really is the maestro in the midfield along with Mazizi. We've highlighted both those two a ton, but Allie Freeman is somebody who's really stepped up as not only just kind of that experienced role, but she's doing so well setting other players up, and someone who started off on the defensive end in her career and now really does both midfield and defense. She's just spectacular on both ends of the field.
Muir ready to insert. Yellow Jackets take it away for the moment. Just under 8.5 minutes to play here in this third quarter. 1-0 Lynchburg out in front. Last time Randolph-Macon got a win against Lynchburg was October of 2015, a 3-2 victory in Sewanee, Tennessee. Oh, wow, the pass going all the way back, and Ambrogi-Torres let it go because the referee had signaled beforehand. Figure with all the great saves she's made today so far, that would be a pretty routine one going back. Yellow Jackets run out of room on this near side. Now McIntyre ready to go forward. Here's Muir. And the Yellow Jackets will take possession over again. A very methodical last few minutes. Gentlemen, do you think that's what Randolph-Macon needs, or do they need to put the foot on the pedal here in this third quarter?
I think you got to put the foot on the pedal. I mean, at some point you're going to need to try and create some offense, and any spark that you can try and create that really ignites the flame in your front line attack. I think that's the secret recipe to success for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. They do need to figure out a way to get some sort of offensive possession that results in a positive for them. Obviously, you've been in your defensive end a majority of the ball game, but something's got to click here. I mean, your season's on the line. A lot of these seniors, their careers are on the line, so this is a huge game. You got to find a way to be able to get a surge on the offensive end.
Yeah, I mean, you could continue this great defensive performance that's been led by the keeper, and she could finish today with a career-high 25 saves, and it wouldn't mean much to the team if you can't put one in the back of the cage. I think that's really what all boils down to right now. And I think you've seen enough out of your defense and that back line especially to have some faith in the ability to slow down a counterpunch if it does eventually come from Lynchburg.
And as much as we love the numbers up here, the seniors out there on the field for Randolph-Macon don't care about the stats or about trying to have any career highs because they recognize this is that big moment. You're going for it your entire career, and this is ultimately one of the best spots and destinations that Randolph-Macon has found in the last few seasons. Back to the ODAC semifinal, a journey that has definitely been one that has taken time for this team. First ODAC quarterfinals appearance semifinals rather, since 2013. They advanced to the championship game, lost 2-0 to Lynchburg.
That was the last time these two teams met in postseason play.
That's right. And Beamon far side, searching for any sort of space. And the Hornets have a penalty corner again. 11-10 was the overall record on that season for Randolph-Macon, so you think about a pretty similar setting in terms of those numbers. They're 12-6 on the year this year. Peterson from the far side. Sends the pass out top. Den Beamon with the shot just right at the pipe.
That's a good look. Just not on the mark. I like the aggressiveness from Lynchburg coming out of that penalty corner. It's just a clean strike.
Don't know how that doesn't ricochet. Had to go through an entire traffic jam to get to the goal. Now the ball rolls to this near side. Randolph-Macon doing anything they can just to get that whisper of space. Lynchburg, you gotta feel like if they can get a second goal, will be completely in the driver's seat of this one. They haven't proven it already. Azizi trying to get the disruption. Would have had fresh turf ahead. Now the flick forward. Pass intended for Olivia Green. Azizi once again somehow gets the stick on it. Referee whistles. Looks like it hit a foot. Randolph-Macon continues to go forward. 4 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Around the horn, Grace Oates sends it the other way. Pass right to Balsamo. Now Lynchburg on the attack. Here's Allie Freeman. A lot of space. Weaves in and out. The spin, the shot just right. And once again, you kind of feel like Randolph-Macon's getting a little too comfortable in those spots.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I also think they're doing a great job not letting any of the attackers of Lynchburg down the middle of the semicircle. They're pushing them towards the outside, which just makes it easier for the goalkeeper to just close down all the angles.
Until you get one of those tips, and one ricochet can be the difference maker. We haven't seen a whole lot of those deflections right on the doorstep today.
Sar Prinz re-entering the contest for Lynchburg. So Randolph-Macon looking for anything. We mentioned that Lynchburg had that goal in the final minute of the first half. Definitely don't want to allow one to end this third quarter. Winner of this game faces the winner of Washington and Lee and Shenandoah, the 2-3 matchup. The other ODAC semifinal slated to start at 6 o'clock tonight. This has been a battle as we anticipated, where the Stars have really shown up. Battle between reigning ODAC players of the week. Ambrogi Torres in goal for Randolph-Macon. Dorstein on the attack for Lynchburg. And while you think she isn't the one with the goal, she has been a crucial piece, just like all these other Lynchburg attackers, keeping the pace. Here's Kristen Berry again. Quick steps to get to the line, and another penalty corner. Great moments so far from the freshman, Western Branch High School graduate. Kristen Berry got the goal that would be the game winner, her 5th of the season, and has appeared in every game so far for Lynchburg.
She really got things going against Randolph-Macon earlier this year in mid-October. That's where she scored her first goal this season and went on to score goals in 3 consecutive contests. She's now scored a goal in 5 of the last 7 games for Lynchburg, and that's what we see so many times out of these freshmen that just eventually find their footing.
Tell you what, the Hornets almost found goal number 2. Balsamo had a fire. Second chance denied, and Ambrogi Torres stands firm. It's a long season through the fall, and at any moment you could have yours. The exclamation marks can happen at any time. Yellow Jackets advancing inside the final 90 seconds. Still feels like they are a member of this fight so far. Has gone back and forth. You allow one more to Lynchburg, though, with 2-0 deficit. Odds stacked high against you like salami on a sandwich, and that might be all she wrote. This Lynchburg team has found opportunities, just haven't converted them into goals. Zizi, pass back. The whistle stops play. Of course, this is the conference tournament. You want to restrict your thoughts to the game on our screen. But last year, Lynchburg advanced to the NCAA second round, 3-0 defeat against Salisbury. That definitely feels like the measuring stick.
Yeah, this is a team that's pushing not just for a conference title, but an Elite 8, a Final Four bid. They'd like to dance as long as they can.
So far, it's still looking smooth for this Lynchburg team that has shut out Randolph-Macon through 45 minutes, 15 to unveil the final story. But the Hornets up 1 on Schellenberger Field in this ODAC semifinal.
It's in our DNA. Making a difference, being real, innovative, and strong wherever you are. Creating change. You believe the world can be better. We all can be better. And here is where we start making it happen. Fostering belonging. No matter who you are, here, you're home. Achieving excellence. From the classroom to the court, we don't settle. Neither should you. Lynchburg. It's in our DNA. Today, tomorrow, always.
1-0 Lynchburg in front of Randolph-Macon as we head to the fourth quarter. It has been a defensive effort so far from this Randolph-Macon team to stay in this contest. Lynchburg has peppered the frame with shots, and Valentina Ambrogi-Torres has been one of the main characters for the Yellow Jackets in staying in this contest. Coach Junie Relaford and company going to try to find new answers here in this fourth quarter, but they have the lead. All they've got to do is hold on for a spot in the ODAC Championship. Evan Gates, Joe Brennan, Ethan Morotsky with 15 minutes left here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Right now, Lynchburg finds themselves in the driver's seat, up by 1 with a minute to play, 15 minutes to play. And this should be a great final frame to kick things off.
Well, the Hornets throughout this season, they've been on a tear. And you look at the numbers, it just feels like moments like these when it's the biggest time they're ready to go. As Freeman's shot is a ricochet right back to the middle, and Ambrogi-Torres goes forward. But a penalty corner ensuing.
It's really been all Lynchburg, but someone, I'm not going to say she's been shut down, but Anna Dorstein, she's been such a weapon for this offense all season, and we expect her to do whatever she can to get into this ball game.
You can really insert all the narratives and the streaks. We mentioned this Lynchburg team sitting at 14-4. All of their losses, by the way, to ranked opponents. So it feels justified to say that they've played the top of the top. That's really what you want to aim for heading into the ODAC tournament. Here's the shot that just sneaks left to the goal.
That was a great pass from Azizi. Just puts it on a silver platter. When you get a tray like that right in front, all you want to do is take a big swing.
On a tee, and the Hornets have ultimately continued to be in a spot where they're getting those shots and having a little extra time. Lynchburg, even in that first half, owners of 10 penalty corners, and that number has just accelerated throughout this third and fourth quarter, and you feel like that changes the pace of play. When you slow things down, you get more methodical, it really helps your chances. Freeman's pass right to the doorstep. Ambrogi-Torres got that foot out. Now you got to be careful as the Hornets are ready to turn and burn, but instead, Randolph-Macon keeps possession.
With how much pressure that they've been soaking up on defense, even after Lynchburg scored that first goal, you don't want to be the one at fault. Having that second goal go in, you really want to try and keep it as close as you can.
Azizi works out to the side ball. Sabo, high velocity pass that rifles all the way to the other side. Sar Prinz couldn't catch up. And now the Yellow Jackets on the run. How many more chances do you get on the counter in this game? Got to use every single one. Olivia Green searching for options as she goes to the middle of the field, but that's going to be an illegal maneuver. Lynchburg takes over.
What's great to see, though, is that this is a Randolph-Macon squad that is still fighting, giving everything they got. They don't seem nervous at all with the clock working against them. They're playing their brand of ball.
And I think you can't play like that if you're Randolph-Macon. This is a game where there's a lot of commotion going on in Lynchburg on Schellenberger Field. It's like a disco on the field with how much action is going on, especially when you get into that semicircle. It's a huge strength for this Lynchburg team and how aggressive they are, just the commotion.
Overall, too, you think about how this team has played throughout the entire year. It starts with having options on the offense. And, as we've said earlier in this game, committee efforts aren't always restricted to the top 2 or 3 players. Near side, and pass taken away. This could be a dangerous spot. Randolph-Macon going forward. Squirrel had it for the moment.
Good positioning here for the Yellow Jackets. This is when you really want to try and find one into the semi.
No can do for the moment. Here's Allie Freeman. Numbers forward for the Hornets. It was Sar Prinz, beg your pardon. Freeman was charging forward on the side. Didn't receive the pass. Once again, a lot of the disruptions, they start with Kanya Mazizi in that midfield. And what she has done today proves it's not necessarily on the stat sheet. Those little encounters that can be so pivotal. Pass intended for Balsamo. Runs out of room. Hornets keep going forward. 11 minutes to play.
I like the contest from Moody right there, and ultimately results in a flip of possession.
This one sneaks all the way through over the midfield line. Near side, here's Stifler. And pass looked like it got a piece of Courtney Moody, someone we haven't talked about today, senior from Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. Really a crucial part of this Randolph-Macon offense. 1 goal, 4 assists on the year. 7 shots versus Roanoke for Moody, but couldn't find the cage, and it really feels like that's a similar theme of what we've seen Lynchburg encounter today. A lot of shots, have only popped the cage once, but it's enough to have the lead.
We're seeing a little more aggression from Randolph-Macon. You're about to hit that 10-minute mark. It's crunch time. Your season's on the line. Every second feels so crucial.
Here comes Dorstein.
No problem when she can get into isolation. Goes all the way around, pass to the middle, right on the doorstep. And penalty corner as it got a piece on the defender's feet, and that is exactly what you want if you're Lynchburg. Dorstein going around the world, just a tap to get past her defender. Ambrogi Torres has been sensational throughout this contest. But how much weight can she bear in the final 10 minutes? Don't want to keep having to fight and defend. Here's the shot. Kicked away as Muir had an opportunity. Pass weaves through Randolph-Macon. Once again, just no openings. The coaching staff incensed after that one. Stifler sends the pass forward.
If there's one element of this Randolph-Macon defense that has really stood out today, it's been their ability to shut Lynchburg down on these penalty corners. I mean, every single time it's been one swing from the top of the arc with nobody on the interior with a chance of tipping it up and in.
That's a stat, too, that you don't necessarily want to put too much emphasis on, the penalty corners, because it's not a gimme. You know, it's just a setup punch, and you still got to find that attacker to put it in the back of the cage. But Lynchburg has been very good at converting them throughout the year and at least getting to that spot. Here's Dorstein right down Main Street, runs into trouble. Seven players on this Randolph-Macon team with multiple goals on the season. So you know, just like Lynchburg, they have the depth to get the goal when they need it. But right now, they're just focused on keeping this Lynchburg offense at bay, as card is shown, and number 32, Jan Rolink, hits the sideline. Goes all the way through, and Muir have this one taken away. Lynchburg possession with 8:20 to play. Dorstein out wide to Prinz. Pass snuffed out for the moment. Second chance. And the reinforcements coming in big on this Randolph-Macon defense.
Lynchburg midfield just swarming on anybody that tries to take it out of the offensive zone.
That's been the theme throughout the entire season in conference play. Few teams have been able to match up in that midfield against Lynchburg. If the score holds on, it will be Washington and Lee or Shenandoah in the next round, as we alluded to, but Lynchburg has still dominated so many of these series when you go back in the years. Of course, Shenandoah got the edge last year in that conference championship. 4-1 defeat of Lynchburg, but 2016 was the last time before that Shenandoah had defeated Lynchburg in a postseason. That was in that ODAC semifinal round, and the last time that Lynchburg failed to get to the ODAC title game. A little bit of weaving from Moody to get back to the middle. Just holding on to this one and waiting for her teammates. They need to send numbers forward.
Late in this fourth quarter, everybody's going to be tired. It's really going to come down to if Randolph-Macon can find that second win, get some, even just a little bit of an opportunity on that offensive end. But it's really tough with how aggressive this Lynchburg offense and midfield have been.
Then Beaumont's pass taken away. You feel like after a long season, when you get to the final portion of games, that you're going to be ready, that fitness won't be a part of the equation, but there's always a little extra incentive in those ODAC tournament games. You know, everybody's putting in that extra effort.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it today. It's been everything and some left out on the field. Oof. There was a look for Anna Dorestein right out in front with an uncontested cage. That pass just a hair off line. That clock really starting to feel like it's going against Randolph-Macon at this stage of the game. It's been a tight one. 1-0. We were expecting a low-scoring affair, but Yellow Jackets have done an excellent job of extinguishing almost every offensive opportunity for Lynchburg.
So far, Hannah Christenberry's goal would be the game winner, as she scored in the final seconds of that first half, and the freshman comes up big in this ODAC semifinal. But other than that, Lynchburg hasn't found a goal, and you just think about the run of play, the number of opportunities they've had. I mean, we preached about how if Randolph-Macon could escape that first half unscathed, might be a completely different ballgame. Azizi gets the stick down to the turf, gets the turnover, and now has free space. Beautiful pass forward, and Brogy Torres dives out. Was that the clincher for Lynchburg?
And once again, it's the freshman, Hannah Christenberry. All set up by Kanye Mazizi. That feels like hammer, nail, coffin.
And what a great job from Hannah Christenberry. I mean, this is a girl that comes off the bench and is a huge piece of offense when some players are getting tired. She is that second wind. Your first playoff appearance, what a beautiful pass from Azizi and a beautiful finish from Christenberry.
We've talked about Kanye Mazizi and her services. She forces the turnover, gets the ball right back, and dishes off to Christenberry, twice as nice in this ODAC semifinal.
I've got a feeling who's going to be getting the game ball.
No doubt about that one. You go through a long season, but as we've said, the freshmen, their moments are coming. You just never know what game it's going to be. And if you keep putting the work in and practice, popping the cage, you know you're going to have it show up on that stat sheet. Christenberry in a big spot.
And she's going to be the one that gets all the high fives. But how about this Lynchburg midfield line today? I mean, both goals really set up by the midfielders. It was an outlet pass with under 20 seconds to go. It sparked that transition goal at the end of the second. And then Mazizi once again sticking with the play. She now earns a green card and heads to the sideline for 2 minutes. But it was all about the dish to set that one up right out in front of Ambrosi Torres. That helped Christenberry get in a good position.
It was just clinical to see her patience in the midfield. You know, you talk about trying to create opportunities, but it also has to be a strategic approach. Extra urgency now from Randolph-Macon. They know what it's going to take to try and get back into this one. An off-balance shot goes well right of the goal. Kylie Gorham was off and running. 3:30 to play. Christenberry just so speedy as well, and you can see it on your screen. She's just one of those players that always has an answer. Gorham once again in the midfield. Pass goes to the near side. Courtney Moody. Shadows have almost completely engulfed Schellenberger Field, especially on the right side. And you're just hoping, if you're a Randolph-Macon fan, for a miracle that this wouldn't be the end of what has been a tremendous season, a historic season when you look at the last few years. 12 wins for the first time for Coach Jessica Weiss. But this Lynchburg team has a bright horizon, and they know what they're playing for in this season. It's not an ODAC semifinal win. It's going to be great, and it helps the journey move forward. But the ODAC title is a game that's going to be a tight one against whomever. And Lynchburg one step closer if they hold on to this result.
That'll be a fun one tonight. 2-3 matchup being played in Winchester. Obviously, there was a three-way tie for the first spot in the bracket. Ended up going down to goals for and against, and that could play a big factor tonight in home field advantage for Shenandoah. If you're Lynchburg, I don't think you care who's on either side of it. You're just trying to come out with some hardware, and obviously you've got long ties against Shenandoah and in the championship realm, and then Washington and Lee being one of the top teams you dropped to this year. You'd like to get another crack at them as well.
Got a question for you guys. You know, if you're on Lynchburg's team, you get the win tonight. Are you scoreboard watching? Are you trying to go ahead and say, oh my goodness, I want to know? Or is it, hey, let's show up to practice tomorrow and figure out who we're playing?
I think it's a little bit of scoreboard watching and showing up to practice. I mean, this is a team where I don't think they're really going to care who they play in that championship matchup, but they're obviously going to want to do their homework on whoever it is, whether it depends on how well their game went against them in the regular season and also a mixture of how well they've been doing in the playoffs, because this is a completely different atmosphere. The regular season and the playoffs are two completely different style or vibes of field hockey, where every team is going to come out and give it their all no matter what seed you are.
Either way, what a great season it was for both of these squads. Randolph-Macon with an excellent campaign, as you mentioned, one of the best in recent memory. And they've got a young group. Obviously, you graduate 7 seniors, but you've got a lot to build off of in years to come.
Just 6 losses in the regular season, the fewest suffered by a Randolph-Macon team since 2000. But they can't come up victorious on this Thursday night. Lynchburg climbs back to the ODAC title game right here on Schellenberger Field. We don't know who it will be against yet. Washington and Lee and Shenandoah will have a fight tonight, but Lynchburg has the upper hand in this contest. Hannah Christenberry has a brace to earn the victory. It was stellar defense and stellar goalkeeping from Valentina Ambrogi-Torres on this Randolph-Macon squad, but Lynchburg and just a step ahead. And you feel like this attack, if they prove to be who we've expected, averaging over 5 goals per game, it's going to be a tough beat for anybody else in the conference.
Yeah, it was a great game between both these teams, and it's easy to say that it was all Lynchburg, and the possession stat may say that, but Randolph-Macon was in their element the entire game. And again, Hannah Christenberry, what a great job from the freshman. Her first playoff game in her career, scoring the only 2 goals of the contest. You just got to tip your cap. If you're Randolph-Macon, you played a great game. Again, you played in your element. You played the defense soaking up the pressure, and just an unfortunate finish for them.
Got to ask you this, Joe. I mean, we go into this ODAC championship game, and you feel like, yes, the emotions are going to be high, especially for the freshmen and sophomores. But this is a game that is not a stranger to this Lynchburg team. How do they stay even keel to make sure whoever they play, they're exactly who they think they are, that Hornets brand of field hockey?
I think confidence is high at this stage of the game. That's definitely one thing that certainly bodes in your favor. But it's also 2 familiar foes, especially for the upperclassmen of this Lynchburg group. You've seen Shenandoah time and time again. You've seen W&L year in and year out. These 2 opponents are no stranger to Lynchburg, and it'll have somewhat of a quote-unquote comfortable feel to it, playing on your home turf in front of your home fans.
Going to be an exciting one, and we're going to be right back here on Saturday as we await the opponent, we await the time as well. But safe to say, Lynchburg has clinched its spot in the ODAC championship game. A big thanks to you at home for tuning in throughout this game, and a big thanks to our entire LHSN crew, Vito, Kevin, Tanisha, Grayson, and Micah. On behalf of Ethan Moratsky and Joe Brennan, I'm Evan Gates, and so long from the Hill City.